During a comprehensive risk management review, a safety manager has completed hazard identification, risk analysis, and implemented control measures. What is the final step to ensure the process remains effective over time? A. Risk identification. B. Administering the process. C. Risk analysis. D. Implementation of controls. Explanation. The correct option is B. Administering the process, because administering the process involves setting acceptable risk levels, allocating resources, monitoring effectiveness, and tracking performance metrics. It ensures the risk management cycle is sustained and continuously improved. After completing a safety training session for new maintenance employees, the instructor wants to ensure the session was effective and identify areas for improvement before the next group is trained. What should be done immediately following the training? A. Course evaluation. B. Course certification. C. Job hazard analysis. D. Final exam. Correct answer. A. Course evaluation. Explanation. Immediately after a training session, a course evaluation should be conducted to gather participants' feedback on the content, delivery, and effectiveness of the training. This helps refine future sessions and confirm whether the training objectives were met. Additionally, observing the worksite afterward helps assess how well the training translates into safe work practices. In emergency situations, which element of hazardous waste operations plays a particularly critical role? A. Site control. B. Air monitoring. C. PPED site characterization. Site control is crucial during emergencies because it establishes clear boundaries and access zones to minimize exposure, protect uninvolved personnel, and prevent unauthorized entry or interference. In hazardous incidents, such as chemical spills, transportation accidents, or plant emergencies, effective site control ensures coordinated response efforts, maintains safety integrity, and reduces chaos. The key elements of hazardous waste operations include planning and organization, training, medical program, site characterization, air monitoring, personal protective equipment, PPE, site control, decontamination. Among these, site control is the backbone of emergency management, ensuring safe, structured, and efficient operations in high-risk environments. Which of the following is not part of the fundamental process for systematically identifying workplace hazards? Options. A. Review previous documentation. B. Conduct an on-site inspection. C. Analyze each job task. D. Determine the degree to which an incident will affect the safety and health of employees. Explanation. The process of systematically identifying workplace hazards involves reviewing existing records, such as incident reports and inspection logs, conducting on-site inspections to observe potential risks, and analyzing each job task to uncover task-specific hazards. However, determining the degree to which an incident will affect the safety and health of employees, option D, is part of risk assessment or risk analysis, not hazard identification. Hazard identification focuses on what could cause harm, while risk assessment evaluates how severe and likely that harm could be. Correct answer. D, because it belongs to the risk evaluation phase, not the hazard identification process. A facility handles combustible powders during daily production. Which of the following is the most effective method for preventing dust explosion hazards? Options. A. Regular housekeeping to remove dust accumulations. B. Installation of explosion venting in the ventilation system. C. Use of water sprinklers in areas where dust is present. D. Increasing the humidity levels to above 95% at all times. Correct answer. A. Regular housekeeping to remove dust accumulations. Studio microphone explanation. Consistent and thorough housekeeping is the first line of defense against dust explosions. By removing accumulated dust on floors, beams, and equipment, you eliminate the fuel that can trigger secondary explosions. Explosion vents and other systems are supplementary controls, but housekeeping remains the most effective prevention strategy.
While troubleshooting an electrical system, a technician needs to measure the rate at which electric charge flows through a conductor. Which electrical property should they assess? Option A, voltage. Option B, resistance. Option C, power. Option D, current. Current represents the rate of flow of electric charge, measured in amperes, A. It is distinct from voltage, potential difference, resistance, opposition to flow, and power, rate of energy transfer.
Why should an industrial facility conduct a combustible dust hazard analysis, or DHA? Options: A. To fulfill insurance requirements. B. To identify and assess the risks associated with combustible dust. C. To ensure proper inventory tracking. D. To comply with local building code. Correct answer: B. To identify and assess the risks associated with combustible dust. Studio microphone explanation. A dust hazard analysis helps identify where combustible dust hazards exist, and evaluates the likelihood and consequences of explosions or fires. It allows management to apply engineering controls, housekeeping programs, and process modifications. The goal is to prevent catastrophic incidents, not just to meet insurance or code requirements. In a metal fabrication facility, fine particles are produced during grinding and polishing operations. Which of the following materials can become explosive when dispersed as a dust in air? A. Lead. B. Aluminum. C. Copper. D. Silicon. Correct answer: B. Aluminum. Studio microphone explanation. Voice-optimized, aluminum dust is highly combustible and can explode when mixed with air and an ignition source is present. Even a small spark can trigger a violent reaction, especially in enclosed spaces. Lead and copper dusts are not considered explosive, and silicon dust, while irritating, is not highly reactive in this context. According to William C. Pope, 3 fundamental factors contribute to the occurrence of an incident. Which of the following combinations correctly identifies these factors? A. Error, defect, oversight. B. Training, oversight, inadequate system. C. Regulation, error, attitude. D. Defect, management, training. Correct answer is A. Error, defect, oversight. Explanation: William C. Pope emphasized that most workplace incidents result from a combination of human error, system or equipment defects, and oversight, either managerial or procedural. Addressing these 3 areas through proactive safety management, regular inspections, and training can significantly reduce the likelihood of accidents. Safety education programs are commonly divided into formal and informal training categories. In the case of informal training, which of the following statements is accurate? Options. Option A. It includes on-the-job training and online training. Option B. It may require 75% more time than formal training covering the same material. Option C. It is not limited to the work environment alone. Option D. It constitutes approximately 90% of adult learning. Correct option is D. It constitutes approximately 90% of adult learning. Research shows that the majority of adult learning, around 90%, happens informally. It takes place through experience, peer interactions, and real-time problem solving. Unlike formal training, which follows a structured classroom or course-based method, informal learning occurs naturally in the workflow. This makes it a continuous and powerful way to build and reinforce skills. As the newly appointed safety manager at a manufacturing facility, experiencing a recent rise in hand and arm laceration incidents, what should be your first step in addressing this issue? Options. Options A. Retrain all workers in hand and arm safety. Options B. Purchase additional personal protective equipment and enforce usage. Options C. Conduct a root cause analysis. Options D. Carry out a training needs assessment. Correct answer, C. Conduct a root cause analysis. Explanation. Before taking corrective actions like retraining or purchasing PPE, it's essential to identify the underlying causes of the incidents. A root cause analysis, RCA, determines whether the injuries stem from unsafe conditions, inadequate procedures, behavioral issues, or improper equipment. Once the root causes are known, targeted interventions, such as engineering controls, policy updates, or retraining, can be implemented effectively. A refinery worker has been exposed to elevated levels of antimony dust over several years. During a routine medical checkup, the worker reports symptoms such as coughing, shortness of breath, and occasional stomach discomfort. Based on these findings, what health effect is most likely associated with long-term occupational exposure to antimony? A. Degeneration of joint cartilage. B. Respiratory and gastrointestinal irritation. C. Neurological impairment and memory loss. D. Bone density loss and skeletal deformities. Chronic exposure to high levels of antimony primarily affects the respiratory and digestive systems, leading to irritation of the lungs, stomach, and intestines. Workers may experience coughing, breathing difficulty, stomach pain, diarrhea, or vomiting. Neurological effects are more typical of manganese or mercury. Joint cartilage issues stem from repetitive strain or lead exposure, and bone density loss is more commonly linked to cadmium, not antimony. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, and share this video to support us.